I'm in a world of madness, I'm trying to escape. I think to myself every night, what's it gonna take? I got sharks swimming in my sea, I got alligators at my feet. There's only one option, that's to walk with me.
And it's lights out and away we go at the Spanish Grand Prix in my Formula 1 2018 career mode. Welcome everybody to this video. We're having a bit of a look at F1 2018. As you can see, I am the Red Bull car, and as is typical fashion for me in every race so far in my career mode, I start the race very badly and lose lots of places off the grid. Don't know why the car starts so badly and everybody just mugs me off the line, but hey ho. It's what I have to deal with, but I quickly slap a overtake on Fernando, and now I chase down the two Ferraris. Now this is the fifth race in my career mode, the Barcelona Grand Prix. I've done Australia, Bahrain, China, Baku so far. And obviously we're starting the European Series. I've obviously been streaming my career progress so far over on my Twitch channel. So if you want to watch me streaming live and playing the game live, then you need to head over to my Twitch and follow me there to see that sort of thing happening and taking place. So yeah, fifth race of the season, Barcelona Grand Prix, a track I'm expected to do very well on as the Red Bull. And unfortunately, we ended up taking out Kimi Raikkonen. We had a slight little bit of contact into that corner and his front suspension completely exploded. I think he'd had some earlier argy-bargy with Vettel, and as a result of that, he picked up some damage, and then as I sort of dive-bombed the inside into that corner, his right front suspension just went, I've had enough. I'm out. And his wheel fell off, so he's out of the race. So one of my championship contenders, one of my constructor rivals, is gone. So that's going to be a good result for the team already. And I've got to chase down, obviously, Vettel and Verstappen at this point, and then obviously the Mercedes. I do have a slight issue here with my tyres at the start of this race, because I did mess up in the qualifying. Basically, I used these super soft tyres in Q1, and then I used the same set of tyres in Q2, forgetting that I would be starting the race on those tyres. So these tyres that I'm running on have done actually 2 stints in qualifying. They've done a lot of laps. They don't have a lot of life left, so I'm going to be making a very early pit stop in this race. Get rid of these tyres, which means I'm going to be on certainly a 2-stop strategy for the race, whereas I think some of the cars are going to be doing a 1-stopper. So it's important for me to try and get past as many of these guys as possible early, because I'm going to be making that extra stop. Just need to chase down Hamilton now at this point, and I'll have the race lead at Barcelona, the Circuit Catalunya, which I have never been to in real life, but I have been to the golf course nearby. I've played a couple of pro-ams at the Catalunya golf course, which is right next door to the race circuit. I've never actually been to the Spanish Grand Prix venue, which is actually sort of in between Barcelona and Girona in Spain. I'd almost say it's closer to Girona than it is Barcelona, but they call it the Barcelona Grand Prix, don't they? And Hamilton squeezed me out there. I'm looking for a place to pass him safely, because at this point in career mode as well, I've got an objective from the team to have 2 clean races. So I'm trying not to, obviously, pick up any penalties, have any collisions with people. I'm surprised I got away with the contact with Raikkonen. The stewards probably put that down as being a racing incident. The fact that I was sort of past him when he turned in, I suppose he made more contact with me than I made with him. He turned into me and broke his car. And I got a lovely move there on Hamilton. Lovely move. I will be switching camera views at some point in this video, I will be going to the onboard shot, giving you some onboard shots. Because one of the things I find when I am streaming this game, a lot of people complain about the fact I use the T-Pod camera view when I'm racing in game. And everyone's like, oh, why don't you use the cockpit view? Why aren't you using the cockpit view? And when I switch to the cockpit view, you will see exactly why nobody uses that. None of the YouTubers, none of the big streamers are using that view in any of their content. Because it doesn't work in a video game. And you'll see why when I go to that view. But at the moment, I've got the lead. I'm just trying to pump in a couple of quick laps because I know I am pitting very shortly, possibly even at the end of this lap. Because these tyres have done, like I say, they've done 2 sessions of qualifying, and yeah, they just, I was an idiot. Even if after making the realisation in Q2 of what I'd done, even if I'd gone out on another set of soft tyres, I don't think I could have beaten my session 2 lap time. And if I'd even gone and put on like the softs, there was no way I was going to beat my session 2 lap time, so I was stuck on these tyres. So yeah, I want to bin them as quickly as possible, and I am going to bin them as quickly as possible. So into the pits I come. And this is when I then experience another issue. Because at this stage, this is the 5th Grand Prix of the season, and obviously my gearbox has now done, well, 4 and a bit races. And it's very worn out. In fact, it's at 86%. So I start to experience problems with my gearbox where it basically won't shift. It won't upshift. And sometimes when I try to upshift, it actually downshifts. And it just seems to get stuck in gear for long periods of time. And I thought to myself, oh God, I am not going to finish this race. The gearbox is going to go. And I'm going to end up taking a penalty. At the moment it's behaving, but in a couple of minutes time the gearbox does start to give me some headaches. And as I say, this is the cockpit view, and the reason I do not like this view is because A, the halo, you cannot see round that central strut as you could in real life. There is a you know, in real life, in 3-dimensional space, your eyes do adjust, and sort of that central column disappears from your actual real vision in a real car because of how the eyes work. But unfortunately, in a 2D video game where you haven't got that depth of field, depth perception, it doesn't disappear. So it's actually quite obstructive. Also in this view, you cannot see any wing mirrors. So you cannot see vehicles alongside you or behind you. So it's very, very claustrophobic and unrealistic, this view, which is why a lot of people just do not use it to actually race with. They prefer the T-cam, because at least with the T-cam, you've got, you know, your view's not obstructed by the halo, you're positioned above it and you can see over it to see in front of you. You can also see your wing mirrors. So for the people who complain about not driving in cockpit view, deal with it. Until you've played the game and experienced this awful camera angle with the halo, it wouldn't be so bad if they gave you virtual mirrors. You could probably get away, even if they gave you like virtual wing mirrors above the tyres, it would help. But you've just got too much stuff taken away from you in this angle, camera angle, to make it viable. And as you can see, I'm starting to get a little bit on the grass and missing corners because I'm just not seeing and reacting to stuff quickly. That central pillar, I know in the options you can turn the central pillar off, and I know a lot of people do, and then try to race in this view without the central pillar, but I feel losing the wing mirrors is still, it's too much of a penalty. So I'm basically just at this point in the race making my way back up through the field, because obviously I've stopped early, I've gone onto the softs. I'm going to try and do quite a long stint on these if I can, and give myself options for my third stint. I don't know whether I'm going to go for my last stint to go softs again, or whether I'm going to go back to the super softs. Depends on my race position, really. It's only lap 7 at the moment, as you can see from the steering wheel information. There's a long way to go in this race. I really shouldn't be changing settings on the car as I'm braking into a corner. And here's where the gearbox starts to play up, look. The gearbox is misbehaving and I'm like, oh no. I'm trying to just shift it into, you know, a high gear and trying to see if I can leave it there, but as soon as I touch the brakes, it starts changing down. And it's just doing things on its own accord at this point. It's got a mind of its own, the gearbox has. Just like, I get on the rev limiter and it just will not shift. Or it shifts down when it's supposed to be shifting up, and then I'm like, no. So obviously my concern at this point is the gearbox going to last? Am I going to have gearbox failure and retire? If so, then that means I'm going to be taking a penalty going into the Monaco Grand Prix, which is not where you want to take a grid penalty, because obviously overtaking is pretty much impossible on that circuit. I mean, even if I do somehow survive to the end of this race, my gearbox is going to be, I'm assuming, very close to 100% in wear. The chances of me actually surviving then the Monaco Grand Prix are slim to none, and I put a lovely move on Verstappen there. Lovely overtake on Verstappen. But he comes back at me, he's coming back at me at this corner. We're too wide. I've got the inside still, and I've got the, hopefully got the overtake done at this point. It held me nerve. So far, it's been a fun season with Max as my teammate. He's the #1 driver in the team. I'm supposedly the rookie. Well, my results have been anything but rookie so far, and I've been giving him a good spanking at every Grand Prix so far. I'm pretty sure Red Bull, in my next round of contract negotiations, will be naming me as their #1. You know, I'm bringing glory to the team. You know, picked up race wins, got podiums for them. You know, I'm doing a grand job. I was the perfect replacement for Danny Ricciardo. Back to the onboard then. I've got the race lead at lap 9. And the gearbox is still playing on. Although it seems to be slightly coming back to me now at this point. It's not misbehaving as badly. Don't know whether the team's managed to do some kind of jiggery pokery on the back in the garage to reset something on the car or not. I don't know. Just there, it's sort of just getting stuck in 4th and 5th a little bit. If I could keep it in 6th gear or higher, it's not actually too bad. But yeah, the reliability situation is quite bad. The fact that you've only got 3 engines, and some of the engine components you've got only 2 of for the whole season. So it's a fine balance. I mean, the engine side of things I'm not doing too badly on, because I did the first couple of races, the first 3 races with 1 engine, and then for Baku I introduced my 2nd engine and limited my first engine. I started using my first engine as my practice engine, which I use in free practice 1 and 2, before obviously putting the actual race engine in on the Saturday, which you have to do because of the part firme rules and stuff. Some of the engine components I'm still using from the first engine because they've got low wear, things like the energy recovery system, the turbo and stuff like that, which are actually quite low wear. I haven't introduced the 2nd element of those yet, but basically I just change out the main internal combustion engine between free practice 2 and free practice 3. And the gearbox, obviously I run the practice gearbox in free practice 1 and 2, and then obviously for free practice 3 you've got to put the race gearbox in. So I tried to make sure in my practice programs I do as many of the the team R&D requirements, the practice programs and stuff. I do as many of them as I can in free practice 1 and 2, whilst I'm using the practice engine and the practice gearbox. And then on the Saturday for free practice 3, when I have to put the race engine and race gearbox in the car, I make sure I do very little running in Q3. Generally in Q3, in practice 3, the only thing I'm going to run is the qualifying program, just to go out there and set a hot lap, to take the top of the practice standings and give Max a bit of a slap. Again, as a teammate, make sure I beat him in free practice 3. And then obviously qualifying, again, try to limit the number of laps I do by making sure Q1 I go out there, set a comfortable lap time that gets me through Q1. Again, Q2, go out there and set a hot lap. And again, a little bit of strategy towards the race, making sure I take the right tyre, which obviously I didn't do in this race because I messed up. And I didn't do it China either. China was a bad race for me qualifying wise, because I went out in Q1, it was raining at the start of Q1, and I went out on the inters, set a pretty good lap time. I was very happy with it. I was top of the leaderboard, and I thought, hey, that's me through to Q2 quite comfortably. Then of course I sat in the garage and thought, I'm not going to do any more running and save the wear on the components. So of course with about 7 or 8 minutes left to go in the session, what happened? Track dried out. Cars went out on the slicks, and I ended up, before I even realised, because I was accelerating the time, I was then P19 and out of qualifying in session 1. My sort of arrogance that I thought I was comfortably through with my wet time bit me in the backside. So I was starting 19th for the Chinese Grand Prix. But then fortunately, come race day, a couple of teams took penalties, so I actually started 15th. Some people had took penalties, they took engine penalties and stuff like that. Grid penalties, gearbox penalties maybe. So I started 15th, and I just basically went very aggressive and did a 1-stop strategy, whereas everybody else was doing 2 stops, some even did 3. And as a result of that, I actually managed to come from 15th to 1st. So, despite messing up qualifying in China, I actually won the race. I looked into a victory, which made up for my Bahrain Grand Prix, where I only managed 4th place. And as anyone who watched the stream knows, that race was a bit fraught with basically me constantly knocking the front wing off my car on the rear of other cars. I don't know how many pit stops I made in that race for front wing, and eventually I stopped pitting. I was just like, no, I'm going to run without the front wing. And there's a car at the side of the road there. Don't know who that was that's retired, but someone, I think that was Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber. I think the Sauber has retired from the race. So yeah, I ended up deciding to run without the without a lot of my front wing towards the end of the Bahrain Grand Prix, which left me no downforce and extremely slow. And yeah, I ended up 4th. I couldn't catch the guys in front of me, and I was basically just defending them from the guys behind. Bit like my Baku race that I had last, which again is over on the Twitch channel, where Jeff, my race engineer, very nearly cost me that race. I kept asking for weather reports, because before the race I saw there was like one part of the race where there was like a cloud with a raindrop, so I thought, oh, we might have a little bit of a shower during the race. So I kept asking him for the weather report, and he was like, well, the rain might be coming in 5 minutes or so. It's only going to be light, don't worry about it. So I'm sat there racing around thinking, is it raining yet? Keep getting on the weather report, and he's like, no, dry tyres are the best option at the moment. I'm like, when's it going to rain, Jeff? And he's like, dry tyres are the best option at the moment. I was getting quite annoyed, because I thought I was due to make my one and only pit stop of the race, my 1 stop, and I was like, I do not want to mess it up. If I need wet tyres, then I want to come in and put wet tyres on. So of course I'm racing around, Jeff's saying nothing, gets to my pit window, so I'm like, okay. Jeff's like, box this lap. So in I come, on he slaps the soft tyres, which were the hard tyre for the weekend, and out I go, and then he tells me, oh, it's raining. the track's wet. We need to change the strategy and put you on intermediates. I'm like, dude, I've just been in the pits. You just could have put me on those. So I'm out there on the soft tyres in the wet, very slippery. The soft tyres obviously can't get any heat into them, so they're absolutely blue on the hood overlay. So I've got no grip at all. I'm sliding all over the place, and I've got Raikkonen and everybody steaming up behind me. They absolutely reel me in. And I'm just like, Jeff, what have you done? You didn't tell me it was raining. I've come into the pits, and you've put the soft tyre. Why didn't you put the intermediates on when I come into the pits, Jeff? Because I wasn't going to stop again at that point, because I've lost my lead. They've cut the whole grid has caught me up. So if I pit now, I'm going to come out at Baku way down the field on intermediates. And obviously, once it starts raining, DRS is disabled, so you don't get the advantage of DRS down that massive long start-finish straight, or the back straight. So I'm like, I've got to stay out. I've got to stay out on these soft tyres, try not to put the car in the wall, which I did multiple times, and I had to use flashbacks. I think by the end of the Baku Grand Prix, I'd used about 50 flashbacks, because I just could not get the car around the track on stone-cold soft tyres in the wet. But fortunately, about 6 laps from the end of the race, it dried up. So suddenly, I was able to get the heat back in the tyres, and the soft tyres come back to me, and actually became obviously useful. Whereas obviously the guys behind me were on the inters, they started to fall away because they were on the wrong tyres, and they weren't going to pit with 6 laps to go, so they were just going to try and muddle it to the end. So I kind of got away with bad strategy calls from the engineer and bad conditions. Barcelona here actually turned out to be quite a nice race for me. It was a bit boring in this middle phase, after my pit stop phase, because obviously it's a bit like the Max Verstappen race in Spa that we just had, the Belgian Grand Prix. He's just pretty much on his own at this point. I'm out in front, I'm comfortable, no one's catching me. As long as my gearbox doesn't play up again, it's doing its job at the moment. So I'm just kind of cruising around, just pushing the laps, because obviously I want to make sure that last stint is the right sort of stint for me. And I'm starting to think, because of how good I was finding these soft tyres to be really nice. I actually found them better than the super softs. They gave me, I don't know whether they seemed to give me more grip, and I just felt happier turning into corners. Like these corners here, I was taking much better on these tyres, apart from there where I cut a little bit of grass. I was doing really well, so I was like, do you know what, I'm thinking for my third stint I'm going to keep with the softs. I'm going to put the softs on again. I'm not going to go back to super soft or ultra soft. I'm going to stick with the softs for my last, right through to the race end, which is going to be about 30, I think it's about 33 laps here. I think I'm doing 50% race difficulties in my career mode. But I should start catching back markers pretty soon, and then I can start getting getting interested again, because now I'm starting to race back markers and lapped cars, and I'm lapping cars, so it's quite fun. First time in the season where I've been in that position, where I'm able to lap people. So, Barcelona, definitely a track that suits the Red Bull. And hopefully Monaco too. I'm hoping Monaco's going to be a good race for me too, but I've never driven around Monaco in an F1 game, and I've had the F1 game since 2010. I've had every F1 game since 2000, and I don't think I've ever driven Monaco. Certainly not with my steering wheel, my Logitech Driving Force GT. I don't know if I'm going to get round the Monaco circuit without bashing the walls. And I'm thinking I'm certainly going to stream Monaco. The Monaco race is going to be streamed on my Twitch channel. And I'm certainly thinking to myself that basically on that race, that's going to be the one race where if I hit the wall and wreck the car, I'm not going to do any flashbacks. I'm just going to say, hey, it's Monaco. That's what happens at Monaco. If you're not on it, you're dead. And then we can hopefully go into a few... Well, I think, where do we go after Monaco? Is it Canada? I can't remember. I can't remember the F1 calendar off the top of my head. But yeah, if I can get through the Monaco Grand Prix, which is the next race in the season, I could take a brand new gearbox, which will hopefully then be better, because I've been working hard on, obviously, the durability. I've been raising the car's durability, because chassis and aero-wise, the Red Bull car's pretty much top in the performance tables, so I haven't really done a great deal of work on those. I haven't been investing too much into the R&D on the chassis and aero because I'm quite happy. I am trying to sort out the powertrain, the engine. I'm spending some research points on developing the engine a bit and some of the engine components, because obviously the Red Bull Renault engine is quite poor. You know, Renault give Red Bull a very poor engine, and you can see why in real life they're going to Honda next season. Because the Toro Rossos ain't doing too bad on the Honda engine. They just don't obviously have the chassis and stuff that the Red Bull does. But yeah, the Renault engine, it ain't a match. It ain't competitive to the Ferrari and the Mercedes engines. And I've got some back markers now, so I can start to get have a little bit more fun now in the race after that dull middle section period. I'm just driving around, looking at advertising boards and stuff like that. It's nice that I can now have a bit of a playtime with the cars in the back markers. I think to myself, I wonder how many cars I can lap, because I've got pretty good pace in this race. How far up the field can I lap? He pitted. He took the easy road out because he knew I was going to absolutely take him down the straight, because I would have had DRS. And again, getting back to the halo view on the cockpit, I find it very hard to position my car on track because I can't see with that central pillar. That's why down the start and finish straight, I'm sort of running more or less down the middle of the track rather than keeping to the left side, because I can't see if there's anything in front of me. You can't see where the cars are, because they disappear behind that pillar. But I'm coming to the braking zone, and I can't see where that car is. If he brakes early, I'm in the back of him, because I can't see him. And that's why I don't race with this view. It's okay for replays like this, definitely. But in an actual race, or a practice session or qualifying, I wouldn't use this view. It's too obstructive. And as I say, the game doesn't support VR, doesn't support multi-monitors or anything like that, so you can't get around the issue. But yeah, my gearbox has settled down. It's behaving as it should be at this moment. I'm trying to think how many more laps I do on these tyres. I think I go to about lap 23, lap 24. Obviously it's lap 20 at the minute. I think I do another 3 or 4 laps, even though Jeff's telling me to box every lap at this point. I thought I didn't really want to do a 13 lap stint at the end of the race. I was like, no, I'm quite happy, I'm quite comfortable on these tyres at the minute. These tyres are only about 60% worn at this point. So I thought, I've still got plenty of life in these tyres. They're still very quick. So I might as well do extra laps now, and then I've got a shorter stint at the end of the race on fresher tyres in case I need them. You know, depending where I come out from my pit stop, where the other cars are on track. I mean, I'm hoping they're going to be still significantly behind me, because as I say, I am lapping people now. So hopefully I shouldn't have to worry too much about passing cars after my final pit stop, because I should still hopefully be comfortably in the lead. lovely orange McLaren in front of us. I'm guessing that's going to be Van Dorn. And then Alonso will be the one further up the track, because Codemasters do seem to have got it right in the AI terms that Van Dorn's absolutely rubbish, as he is in real life, and Fernando's very, very good. In fact, actually, in the game, Fernando and his McLaren tend to perform a lot better than it does in real life. Likewise, Bottas seems to be very, very good for Mercedes, and Lewis Hamilton's the one that's rubbish. I don't know why Codemasters have got the game programmed like that, because that's obviously not true and reflective of real life, but so far in my career mode, Lewis hasn't had a very good race at any circuit. He didn't finish in Australia, and he's had very poor placings in every other race. He doesn't qualify very well, which obviously isn't like real life at all. And yet Bottas is always there or thereabouts. He's always featured in the little post-race cinematic thing, and I'm thinking to myself, why do Codemasters have such a hard-on for Bottas? And why do they make Hamilton suck so badly in the game? Come on, we've got to get past him in the car. I think I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to the start and finish straight, I think. I'm not going to pass him through this chicane. Get a little bit wide to give himself a good run out. Be able to get full power down, full traction. And then I'm just going to absolutely lick the stamp and send it into turn one, I think. Danny Rick, last of the late breakers. Goodbye. And I hold it. That's the Red Bull car in this game, certainly in career mode, has got tremendous braking. The chassis and aero is obviously fantastic, but it just, you seem to be able to brake really, really late into corners with the Red Bull compared to other cars I've tested, and it sticks, it holds. There's a couple of times where I run off track and run out of room, where I leave the braking completely too late, but there are certain points where, yeah, you know, you can see why Danny Rick in real life makes some of the overtakes he does, because it's just insane how late you can brake into some corners and still make the corners with this car, and that's got to be down to, you know, the Adrian Newey design. Force India in front of us. Don't see the point in Force India. It's amazing that the game launched last Friday, and it's already out of date now, because obviously Force India is no more. They went into administration during the summer shutdown and got bought out by the Lawrence Stroll consortium takeover party, and are now Racing Point. Racing Point F1 or whatever they are. Obviously they still have the crappy pink car and the same drivers, although that apparently is changing. There's obviously rumours that obviously Lawrence is going to want his boy, Lance, in the seat, and they reckon it could be as early as Singapore when Lance moves from Williams to Force India. That of course means that poor old Esteban Ocon is going to be without a drive. He hasn't got anywhere to go at this moment in time. There are reports in real life he had a seat fitting at McLaren, and then they found out he was too big for the car. At 6'1", he's too big for the McLaren car, so he's not going to be dropping into there this season. Obviously, Carlos Sainz is moving there next year to replace Nando, and that just leaves Stoffel the Waffle in the other seat. And so far, McLaren haven't said anything about whether they're getting rid of him or not. So looks like Ocon's going nowhere. At this point, he hasn't got a drive. He could go to Williams and take up the seat obviously left by Stroll, but the rumour is that Williams obviously at this point in the season will put their reserve driver Robert Kubica into the seat, because obviously he's already got experience with the car and he's been their test driver all season, has done some of the free practice sessions. So it's a shame that a guy like Ocon isn't going to have a drive. At this point in the F1, there's a lot of obviously drivers just on the fringes. Certainly a lot of GP2 guys that are wanting to come in. and there's just no seats for them. There's nowhere for them to go. Obviously, guys like Kimi are still hanging around, and you think if he eventually steps away, or hopefully steps away, or Ferrari decides to do away with him, because again, Kimi's not brilliant. Obviously, Leclerc is probably going to take that seat, and then obviously that'll leave a seat at Sauber. Obviously, Marcus Ericsson's future's probably a little bit in doubt as well at Sauber. Rumours of them wanting to replace him. I certainly agree with what Martin Brundle says pretty much every week on the Sky F1, in that the Formula 1 could definitely do with more teams. They could do with 12 teams. Definitely 12 teams, 24 cars on the grid. Oh, there goes the cone. Because it can definitely support it, and then that would give you 4 extra seats. You know, if they had the extra team, 2 extra teams, 4 extra cars, 4 extra drivers, that would make things a little bit easier. Then there'd be a bit more room for people. But again, it's who do you get to come into the sport? Maybe we get like a proper Alfa Romeo team? Do Aston Martin have a team? Audi? Do they put a team into F1? Oh, and my gearbox is gone again. Making a pit stop and the gearbox is playing up again. It won't shift. I need to mash the paddles to try and force it to shift up. And obviously, I'm hitting the rev limiter, which isn't going to do my engine a great deal. I'm going to be putting a lot of revs on the engine at this point. So my engine components are going to be taking a battery because my gearbox isn't working properly. As Jeff is on the radio constantly telling me at this point, you're putting a lot of wear on your transmission. It's like, yeah, cheers, Jeff. Maybe you should fix the gearbox between races. You know, take it to bits, give it a bit of a buffer and polish, you know, repair it, and don't let it cap out on me. Because I think in Baku, I lost one of the gears. In the last race, I lost one of the gears. I think it was 5th. I lost 5th gear. But that wasn't too bad because you was able to like shift up through it, shift down it. But certainly this problem at this race, where it's staying on the limiter for ages before it will actually let you shift, is a bigger issue. And certainly I think at Monaco, that I just can't see me completing the Monaco Grand Prix with this gearbox. Because you're changing gears so many times at Monaco because of the nature of the circuit, it being slow, lots of corners, low gears, up and down, up and down, up and down. I expect bad things from Monaco. But it's a shame because it's the last race in the sequence for this gearbox. You know, I do not want to take a grid penalty on the 6th race because I've had to take gearbox early. You know, 3rd or 4th race, you could probably take it. Hell, I would have even considered taking the gearbox here. Had I known, in hindsight, had I known how good the car's performance was on this circuit and how good it would be in this race, I could have taken the gearbox for this race and I would have made up, you know, the grid penalty wouldn't have hit me very hard at all. I probably still would have finished where I finished. But at Monaco, I'm thinking to myself, there's going to be low roads to pass. I don't know how I'm going to qualify. I don't really want to be taking a grid penalty at Monaco, especially when I can stick the car on the wall anyway. Most likely probably will. So I'm probably going to risk it. I'm probably going to risk taking the gearbox to the 6th and final race in the series. I am doing the durability program. I have started the gearbox durability program, which should be completed by Monaco, so it should just give it a little bit more reliability from the end of the and then obviously the new gearbox that I take will be a lot more reliable than this one. It'll have a lot more durability. So going 6 races with the new gearbox shouldn't be a problem. It's just this initial one, the very first gearbox you start with is obviously going to be very, very poor. Because you haven't been able to... So, yeah, pretty much all my R&D points that I've been amassing at the start of the season, I've been putting into the... durability, and I've just started doing some powertrain stuff. Tell you what, the McLaren kind of brake tested me in the corner there, and then it kind of got out of the way. AI is very bad at reacting to blue flags still. Well, I suppose Codemasters would say, hey, it's just like real life, because the drivers are bad at reacting to blue flags in real life. They still get in everybody's way. They don't get out of the way of the lead cars fast enough. They tend to block them and cause them problems. But certainly when you're going through a high-speed corner and then the car suddenly stops in the middle of the track, in the middle of the corner, it's like, whoa, what are you doing, man? Almost ran into the back of it. And of course, I'm like, the last thing I'd want to do is knock my front wing off on a back marker and pick up a penalty and lose my race bonus, lose my team objective because of a back marker. It's a bit different if, you know, I'm launching a dive bomb into a corner for an actual race position. I'm actually making an overtake and I smash my wing off on the car in front of me that I'm actually racing. You know, I'll accept that. I'll hold my hands up and say, yeah, that was my bad. You know, I don't deserve the bonus points and stuff for that one. But if I get my car damaged on a back marker, then I'm going to be really, really not happy. I'm carving my way through them nicely. I'm almost tempted to say I think this race was glitched. I think there's a glitch. Because the performance of my car on this circuit is just... it's just on a completely different level to everybody else. And yes, I admit I'm not playing on the highest difficulty setting. I'm not making out I'm a fantastic F1 driver like some people on YouTube and Twitch and stuff. I'm playing at an AI level that I feel gives me a challenge whilst being beatable, you know. I'm not having to push myself too hard and get myself in a fret and a tizzy. You know, it's at a reasonable level, and as the season goes on and I get obviously more experience with the game, I can raise that. As you know, my car's performance improves with the R&D, if I can raise the difficulty to keep that challenge in place. But for some reason at this circuit, the AI and everything, and the car's performance, one of the things that, and what makes me believe that, is when I was doing the practice programs, the fuel management program, I didn't use any fuel, apparently, during my whole lap around the circuit for the fuel management program. The needle never moved from the far right side, from the purple bar. And it's like, you haven't used any fuel. The whole time you was accelerating, pedal to the floor, you weren't using any fuel. Same with the tyre management program, when I did that. My tyres never got worn. The wear needle never moved, even though I know I was sliding a bit through the corners and stuff. Because the tyre management program is the first one I always do at every race. Before I do track acclimatization, because I use the tyre management one to test out my car setup a bit. And I like to make sure I've got my setup absolutely nailed perfect before I do the longer programs like the track acclimatization and the race strategy programs. So yeah, tyre management, ERS, fuel management, very weird. According to those 3 programs that I did, which I purpled, I never used any tyres, I never used any fuel. My ERS, I had my ERS off. I actually had 0 deployment most of the lap, and I was still able to beat the target time, even though I wasn't deploying any ERS. So I'm kind of thinking, yeah, this circuit may have been bugged, this race may have been a bit glitched. And probably when I get to Monaco, it will probably go the opposite way, and I won't be able to achieve anything. Although, to be fair to me, China was a bit like that. The China practice programs, I had a real hard time with. I didn't get the track acclimatization in China. I could not make, well, I just couldn't get the car set up right. I've got a better understanding of car setups now. I kind of know what I'm doing with the sliders and stuff, and I understand the sliders better. So Baku and here is the first time where I'm doing my own custom setups rather than using any of the predefined ones, and I actually find I'm getting a much better car out of it. Certainly the issues I had in my first races of the season with the fact I felt the car understeered a lot and just didn't want to turn into corners, I've kind of solved that a bit. It's actually quite pointy now. It's actually quite nice. It's a bit more responsive on the steering. I'm making sure I've got the suspension set up right. The front suspension quite stiff, rear suspension quite soft. You know, ride height, front ride height quite low, rear ride height quite high to give it that natural Red Bull, you know, high rake. And again, you know, make sure my aero pretty much tends to be front wing 4, rear wing 6, and I pretty much leave it there. I don't change it now. Every circuit I run the same front and rear wing. People will say, whoa, that's a bit of a crazy strategy. Goodbye, Max. Max moves over there, lets me through. So I've actually lapped the second place guy. I've lapped everybody now by the end of this race. So I've just got one more lap to go after this lap. This is the penultimate lap. And then I've picked up a race win in Barcelona. Pretty cool. And then I can go to Monaco and work on my setup there and try and get things, you know, working and behaving properly, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Certainly enjoying F1 2018 very much, more so than F1 2017, which I stopped playing pretty quickly. Can't remember, was it after the Chinese Grand Prix? I know I did Australia, I did Bahrain, I did the Chinese Grand Prix as videos here on YouTube, and then I kind of just like stopped playing the career mode. I got a bit fed up at the game. This is keeping me, at this moment in time, very interested and very excited. The R&D system, the new contract system, the interviews after the races, they definitely quite nice. And the fact that I know from having watched some other YouTubers and streamers, they tend to come in quite, they do like the Formula One management has changed the regulations. They tend to do that a bit earlier now in the career mode and a bit more frequently to reset your research trees and reset the playing field a bit, take away some of the performance of your car, and then you have to try and invest points you have to invest your R&D points to modify your upgrades to be compatible with the new rule changes, rather than obviously just keep developing new upgrades. You need to make sure your existing upgrades are going to be compatible, otherwise you're going to lose them. So that's an extra challenge that they've brought in this year, which I'm looking forward to as well, because like I say, I've gone really hard on durability at the start of the season. So if they suddenly come in about halfway through the season and say we're going to be leveling the reliability and durability aspects of teams and car performances, then I'm going to be screwed. I'm going to have to invest a lot of points to keep my changes and my upgrades. If they come in and say, oh yeah, we're changing regulations on the aero or changing regulations on the chassis, it's not going to affect me a lot because I've not invested any points into those areas yet, into those trees. But I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with the game. I'm enjoying it. And like I say, if people want to see me doing some races live, be sure to follow me over on my Twitch channel. And hopefully I'll be back to see you all again very soon with some more videos and content. For now, from me, bye-bye.
Now turn the lights down low, it's time for my show. And I said, hey, hey, hey.